What's up, guys? Future BC coming at you. The NXT TAKEOVER Stand and Deliver Night #1 review was filmed about 45 minutes ago. You guys are about to catch that in its entirety in just a minute. But I wanted to give a little bit of a cold open update. In case you guys were wondering throughout the video, in case you guys were feeling bad for BC throughout the review, feel bad no more. Wonder no more. Your boy BC, Buraga, has got his Duncan. So all is right in the world. You guys who watch the review will know what I'm talking about. So there's your update. BC's got his mojo juice. Also, say it ain't so, EO. No, not EO. Triple H and NXT, man, they pulled the trig and they did something crazy last night. I can't believe that they did this. I think overall it's a mistake, but we're going to talk about it. But Io Shirai is no longer your NXT Women's Champion. I know there's a bigger plan in the works, and it might be a really bad plan. We're going to discuss all of it, man, but Io Shirai is on another level. BC, as of this morning, as of April 8th, 2021, BC is proclaiming Io Shirai the greatest women's wrestler on the planet today. She's just in another category, and this is a pro Sasha Banks channel. And we love Sasha, we love Asuka, we love Ember, but Io right now is on another level. So what I would love to do, before we start the actual review, I love to do these little polls on the channel. I want you guys, if you just have 5 seconds, if I can take 5 seconds of your time, down below, tell me who you feel is the #1 female wrestler on the planet. It just takes 5 seconds. Give me one name down below, who you feel, not just who you're a fan of, not fandom, but if you were to dissect professional wrestling, who checks off every box for you? Give me that name down below. I'm kicking it off. I'm going to start this poll, and I'm going Io Shirai. And I'm going to tell you exactly why in this very review. But what a fucking takeover for Io, man. She drops her title after 305 days. But she gains so much in the process. Oh, we're gonna talk about it right now. Brigade, my amplified unit. Red team, go! NXT TAKEOVER Stand and Deliver Night #1. This is a little bit of review and reaction, amplified style. And perhaps the only thing more ferocious than the content that BC is delivering and producing for all of you this WrestleMania week is that damn sun right now. Because it's early in the morning, but that sun is out to play, and ain't nobody stopping that son bitch. So I'm hoping you guys can even see some semblance of your boy BC right now, because that shit is strong. And we want to talk a little bit of blasphemy right from the jump. The Dunkin' Donuts I was about to hit before this review to get his coffee is closed. So BC is pulling this review off without his coffee. So with all that's going on in the world, you can add that to the top of the list. Straight blasphemy. But even without a coffee, you guys are going to get this review full throttle. As if you can't already tell, even without a coffee, even pre-coffee, we amped up. We ready to rock this day out. And I hope you guys are too, man. Now, there's a lot of content that is being distributed this week, as aforementioned. We already put out a lot. Monday, with an impromptu video giving you a layout of the land, what to expect for this week, some news, some updates as well. And then for the Monday Night Raw review this week, where BC unloaded on this company because somebody has to hold them accountable. They made WrestleMania 2 nights when they can't even fill one night of the card. They're rushing days before WrestleMania. They're still trying to pencil in matches. Do you guys realize that? Was 2 nights needed when you can't even focus on one night? And you can't focus on one night because your attention was on Elimination Chamber and then on Fastlane. And then they found themselves in a world of shit when they said, oh, we only have 2.5 weeks until WrestleMania. And this is why nothing feels important. No storyline was built correctly, and there's no intrigue for WrestleMania this year. I'm not surprised. I'm a little bit taken back by how lackluster this has been. Every year, WrestleMania season dwindles further and further from what it once was, but this year takes the cake. This year, I don't know how you can go lower than this, but somehow Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the old bastard in Stamford, Connecticut, will find a way. Anyway, you can catch that review where we just unloaded on this company. That's on the channel right now. That was this week's review of Raw. And then, of course, yesterday, we put up an impromptu fun video. A video for my amplified unit, my subscribers, to say thank you. And it was episode number 2 of Pro Wrestling for Dummies 101, where Professor BC says class is in session. Students, take your seats. And we talk about some of the stupidest wrestling fans in the community. And we take some of the dumbest comments that I have seen in the wrestling world. And we, I can't say highlighted because you never want to highlight stupidity. But we fucked with them a little bit. So catch that video. A couple thousand of you already did. We put it up late yesterday. And I'm glad you guys are enjoying that, man. Thank you. And who knows? Episode 3 may be around the corner. But NXT is the video that we are focusing. Vince, focus! You focus on Mania, we focus on NXT TakeOver, Stand and Deliver night number 1 right now. It's all about focus! And this is what we're going to do now. Tomorrow, we're going to do NXT TakeOver 2, or TakeOver night number 2 of Stand and Deliver. And tomorrow, I would love to do that live. We'll see. Stay subscribed and notified, obviously. But for this night number 1, I'm going to give you guys my candid thoughts, man. This may not, I know a lot of people want, you know, when you think TakeOver, I don't want to stumble over my own words, man. So let me just give it to you straight as I always do. When you think TakeOver, you think just an epic night of action. You think an epic, where every match just like captivated you and you just saw some of the best wrestling ever, with wrestlers in that ring and matches that you cared about. Like you were really intrigued. This did not produce that last night. If you thought it did, kudos to you. But I really do believe that you're lying to yourself. I mean, you gotta be like a diehard NXT, full throttle, everybody intrigues you type of a person. And that's just not what NXT is right now. They have to find their footing. They have the talent, no question. They even have some good storylines within the structure of NXT, but it's a shell of what it once was. And anybody that has followed NXT from day one, you know what I'm talking about. It's almost unexplainable, right? Inexplainable, unexplainable, inexplainable. I haven't had my coffee. I'll get it right. Expect a few botches from BC today. But it's almost like you can't put it into words, man. What you felt with NXT years ago, you're talking the Sasha Banks days, and even with Finn Balor's first run, and Shinsuke and Kevin Owens when they were all in NXT. So even after the initial heyday in the Owens and the Shinsuke's coming in, even that era of NXT, it was, you know, those were the golden years. The past couple of years, we saw kind of fading away from that as call-ups, or some call it in this community, call downs to the main roster occur, and some of that great talent goes over to the main roster. You know, that luster kind of lost itself along the way. Great talent stepped in to fill their shoes, but the magic wasn't there. I hope I'm explaining it right, but I know a lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly why you just can't put it into words. The feel that we once felt for NXT, it's not there. And it's a plethora of things. And it sucks because the show is consistently good and they're doing so many right things. The magic is not there. So we were hoping that last night would produce that. But because it was on the USA Network, there were so many commercial breaks that I couldn't help but feel it just seemed like a regular Wednesday night NXT show. Now, if you had Peacock, and if you had the Peacock Network, then you were getting it commercial free. But there were so many in and outs you could tell when USA was going on a commercial. It just took away from a lot of the action for me. I was actually switching back and forth from USA Network and Peacock just to see how they were doing it. And it was just too many breaks, man. And on top of that, it just didn't jump off of my television set as a takeover. Some of these matches you literally could have just had on your regular Wednesday night show, and it would have sufficed. And it just felt like a regular NXT on USA Network Wednesday night show. A lot of this. One or two matches, I finally got that semblance of an NXT takeover, but for the most part, it felt like a regular Wednesday. It didn't have that takeover feel from years past. So not sure how you guys feel about it, but we're going to dissect this right now together, man, because I got to sleep on it. And that's why a lot of people like to put reviews out immediately after the show, try to get all the views, try to get as many clicks as they can. I get it. YouTube is a business to them. But if I can't be honest, then I shouldn't be doing this. That's my philosophy when I started this channel. So, I have to give you guys the very best review in the community. I can't say that and then do something totally different. So I like to sleep on it, and when I give my review, I make sure that I have all the facts and I have the most accurate description of what happened. I really got to digest it and take it in, think about what happened and what it all leads to. So that's what I did for this takeover. That's what I do for AEW, WWE. That's how I review, man. I'm not just going to jump out with a review at you guys just to get views and clicks. That's not what this is about for BC, man. We are going to dissect this full throttle because our end goal at the end of the day is to make professional wrestling better. Better. That's all companies, brah. When everybody is thriving, we are all thriving. NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver night number 1 starts off with Pete Dunne versus Kushida. This is a 12-minute match with a lot of action packed in that 12 minutes. However, I would have preferred a much more impactful opener. You say, BC, man, Kushida and Pete Dunne tore the roof off the place. What do you mean? That's how you open a show. First of all, they did not blow the roof off the... What are you talking about? This was a 12-minute match. Now, if you gave Dunne Kushida the right storyline, much better build-up, and gave them 25, 30 minutes, then we might be talking about a different story. This was 12 minutes, impromptu style. Guys, this match was just announced for this takeover 7 days ago. So let's not fool ourselves. Let's not act like this was a story being built for 4 months and it was in the making for this takeover for a month and a half. No, 7 days ago, they were like, let's pencil in a 5th match. So that's what I mean. Let's not get away from the actual truth. We like to think something was a classic all the time. Because we like Pete Dunne. We like Kushida. But I would have preferred a much more impactful opener for a takeover. For instance, the North American title. Right? The gauntlet match to decide the number 1 contender for the North American Championship was last night. So you have those 6 dudes. The winner is going to take on Gargano for night number 2. Now, I can't stand schmaz matches. You guys know that. There's never an exception. But gauntlet matches are usually fun as fuck. There's lots of action in gauntlet matches, and they always have something on the line. So I would have been okay with that starting the show. You're going to have a schmaz anyway. Start the motherfucker with it. There's actually 2 schmaz matches last night because the tag titles that were vacant were defended in a 3-way dance. 3 separate tag teams going for 1 set of tag titles. So gauntlet matches usually bring out a lot of fun. There's a lot of action there too that you could have got with them that you got with Dunne and Kushida, and it would have been more intriguing for your audience. I would have absolutely started the night with that gauntlet eliminator. But we got Pete Dunne and Kushida. So they put the gauntlet match in the number 2 slot and an impromptu Dunne-Shida match in the opener. AEW Shida, no. Kushida, NXT. Just gonna... Shida? Dunne took on Shida? Kushida. Again, this was a decent match, but my level of care or intrigue for Dunne and Kushida was maybe a 5 at best out of 10. Just was, man. You can't. I'm starting the show off with that. Anywho, I digress. Pete Dunne defeats Kushida and continues to rise the ranks of NXT. Cool for Pete Dunne. Kushida has to start from the beginning of the line once more. We don't know. Are they really pushing Kushida, or is he just a mid-carder? Then it looks like they're pushing him again, and he's back to mid-card stat. I don't know. You know, you don't know with Kushida. I don't know if he can be a legit top star. You know, we know the talent that he possesses. We know we would like him to be. But knowing the structure of NXT, knowing the structure of the main roster when he gets there, is Kushida gonna have what it takes? In Vince's eyes, would Triple H ever make him the man in his promotion, NXT? That's what I'm asking. So, it's, you know, of course we would like to see these guys reach the pinnacle. Not AEW's pinnacle. All these references, man, you could easily translate over to AEW. A lot of people probably watched AEW last night. That's going to be interesting to see the ratings, guys. AEW tried to compete with TakeOver. I think they could lose. I know AEW has been whooping that ass. This could be a week where AEW could possibly lose the ratings. I would love to go live later and talk about it. That would be cool, man. If I have a 2-hour window, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but I would love to be live for like an hour, man, and discuss that and maybe some other stories later on today, because it's very early now. But I would love to see the ratings and talk about that. That's I know some people are like, the ratings don't matter. Stop worrying about ratings. Who's worrying? I hate when people say, who is worrying about ratings? We watch the show, we're trying to enjoy them, we're having fun, we're not thinking about ratings, and then the next day we like to see what the world was watching. Is that so? People get so butthurt about people that watch ratings. Stop worrying about... How about you stop worrying about the people that you claim are worrying about ratings? Why are you so concerned with what people are concerned with or talking about? If you come across a video of somebody talking about ratings, why care? Don't click on it. Can't stand people like that, man. Social media police or something. You know, you're in violation of talking about the ratings. Says who, bitch? Social media is one big, huge, toxic world. Keep the line moving. It's one... That choo-choo, chugga-chugga Strowman Express boxcar brawn will be making its rounds. Keep the line moving. You ain't gotta stop and talk about people that are talking about ratings because you don't like it. People are interested to see what is working and what is not. Who says they're not enjoying the shows when they're on? It's public information that people talk about. Fuck does it matter? I've never seen anything like people that get upset about other people following the ratings. Never have I ever seen anything like that. BC's interested in the ratings. Got it? Get it? Good. Don't like it? Tough shit. I say the ratings are important. Don't like it? Tough shit. 'Cause I said it, guess what that means? They're important. You're wrong. Ding dong. Goodbye. BC said they matter. Ratings matter. And I'm interested to see them later on, man. If AEW won, I bet you it's going to be not more than 50 G's. It's going to be another close one, but I would not be shocked if NXT takes this. We'll see, man. Again, maybe I can go live later and just discuss it for a half an hour or something with you guys. Who knows? Match number 2. As aforementioned, the Gauntlet Eliminator match. Again, can't say it enough. I would have had this in the number 1 spot, starting the night off. That would have gave the whole night a different feel. This is to decide the number 1 contender for the North American title. Swerve Scott versus Leon Ruff start the match. Bronson Reed is out number 3. My boy Cameron Grimes enters this match in the number 4 slot. My other boy Dexter Loomis enters at number 5. At about that time, Swerve Scott then eliminates Leon Ruff. LA Knight concludes the participants in at number 6. LA Knight pins Dexter Loomis. A little bit of a shocker there. So Loomis is eliminated. Bronson Reed then defeats and eliminates LA Knight. And we're down to our last two, man, which is Swerve Scott. No. Swerve Scott then pinned Cameron Grimes, I believe. Then we were down to our last two. So Loomis and Grimes were eliminated late in this thing. And those were the ones that BC thought would be the final two. So a little bit of a swerve, not just Swerve Scott. They swerved all of us, or at least most of us. I'm pretty sure a lot of us had Cameron Grimes and Loomis, or maybe some of you guys had Bronson and Loomis. But that would have been your combination for your final two. But after Cameron Grimes got eliminated by Scott, we were down to our final two, Swerve and Bronson. And Bronson delivers a shattering powerbomb to Swerve. Love this powerbomb, man. Bronson delivers that beautifully. And then a cascading splash from the ropes. And I mean, when Bronson does this, he gets all of it. You literally... It's not like, oh, he pulled that off. It looked real. I mean, this dude squashes you. So you had the feel for Swerve, man, in that moment. And forget trying to kick out. This dude, Swerve, was just trying to wake up. Bronson takes the W. Bronson is going to tonight's NXT TakeOver Part 2. Part deuce. And stand and deliver, and he's going to take on Gargano for that championship, man. So congrats to Bronson. This kind of took BC by surprise. I thought you would go to Loomis and Cameron. Or if you were going to have Bronson, it would somehow still be Cameron or Loomis. I don't know, man. Bronson's one of those dudes where it's push-pull, you know? You think he's about to get the world, and then he gets taken back a few steps. Then Triple H gives him a mile, and then he takes him back a mile and a half. So you don't know if Bronson is about to be a breakout superstar, or if Bronson is just still kind of hanging mid-card. You know? It's one of those things where whatever happens tonight, this is really going to make or break Bronson's trajectory. Not as a superstar. He'll be fine after tonight, no matter what happens. But as far as superstar status right now in NXT and their landscape, tonight is a make or break night in how fans are going to look at this dude. So, interesting, right? No pressure, Triple H. No pressure, Bronson. But him and Johnny should put out a fucking, they should put out one of those NXT classics tonight, man. I don't want to put too much pressure on him, but it could be, if given the right amount of time. I would not doubt it. As far as this match as a whole, listen, the match was decent. It was fun. It was action-packed. It was 25 minutes, by the way. So they stuffed all of this within 25 minutes. You could say, damn, how do these 6 dudes not get at least a half an hour? But you could also say they could have easily given them 20 minutes. So we'll take 25. So no real big complaints here. I think there's something bigger in store for Grimes and Loomis. So I'm not too perturbed by that. So it's cool to see Bronson and Swerve get some shine. So I'm cool with that match, and I'm good with the ending, but here we are 2 matches in, and it just doesn't feel like TakeOver. Now, if you guys were feeling like it did, that's awesome. Great. I'm not even being sarcastic, but I think I speak for the majority of us when I say, yes, we had some good wrestling matches. It just didn't feel like TakeOver. I think I could speak for the majority of us in saying such. But match number 3 would change that a bit. This was NXT UK champ Walter taking on badass Tomasso Ciampa. Match time clocked in at 17 minutes. I was really hoping they would get a solid 25 minutes to deliver a classic NXT TakeOver classic that we used to see. You guys know what I'm talking about. But they were only given 17 minutes. But it's all good because for the first time in the night, it did feel like a TakeOver, or at least a TakeOver-worthy matchup. If I was to put a tagline on this match, it would be hard-hitting alphas unwilling to roll over for the other. That's the perfect way to put this matchup. When all was said and done, Walter pins Tomasso Ciampa. Yes, it would have been great to see Ciampa win this. And yes, it sucks to see him lose. But Walter's title reign has taken on a life of its own. Not as impactful as Asuka's undefeated streak, or even The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. But a 2-year title run is unheard of in today's wrestling, especially anything WWE related. So this is huge, and that's what I mean by it's taken on a life of its own. So I'm cool with this decision, and whoever takes this title from Walter, that dude will be a made man. Because Triple H is putting a lot of stock. He's putting a rocket on somebody's back. Whoever defeats Walter, whoever Walter does the job to, man, are they putting some stock into that son of a bitch. Is it somebody down the road like a Bronson Reed? Possible. It looks like they're grooming Bronson. Whether he gets that North American title tonight or not, I don't think Walter's losing this title anytime soon. They could keep grooming Bronson for that spot. And that's what I meant earlier. Is Bronson going to get the rocket or is he not? I feel for the past year, he's just kind of been that tweener guy. There's a plethora of other people they could go with too, man. Do they? There's too many possibilities. You look at the NXT roster, they could do this many ways. My point is, if Tommaso Ciampa can't do it, if Tommaso can't get in 17 minutes, Tommaso's is flat on his back looking up at the light. Who's taking out Walter? Questions. Intrigue. That's what I mean, man. For several reasons, even though the match with these two was only 17 minutes, several reasons, it felt like TakeOver because you had some questions leading out of it too. You had this epic title reign continuing. Pretty fucking cool. Match number 4 is for the vacant NXT tag titles, Mendoza and Wilde versus MSK versus Grizzled Young Vets. I am not a fan of schmaz matches. I am going to say that every time there is a schmaz match. At all. I just don't like anything that has to do with so many people involved. For instance, a singles match should be one-on-one. A championship singles match. One-on-one. I don't need a triple threat or fatal 4. It's supposed to be a champion versus a number 1 contender. If it is a tag team title match, it should be the champions versus number 1 contender challengers. That doesn't mean everybody is a number 1 contender. So I just can't stand schmazes, man. But if there was ever a time for a schmaz match, it's when there is a vacant title on the line. It's when there is a vacant title up for grabs. That is the only time that you can pull a schmaz off. Because it is impromptu. The titles were stripped for a reason, whether it be an injury, a suspension. The titles are stripped, and now you can make it viable that everybody is vying for those titles. Those titles are up for grabs for everybody now. Because the champions never actually defended them to lose them. So everybody gets to have their hand in the cookie jar. That's the only time I'm okay with it. So I was willing to throw this schmaz a mulligan, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All I ask is that they make this NXT TakeOver worthy. Did they do that? Well, let's put it this way. Beth Phoenix on commentary said it best. She said, and I quote, during this match, my heart is beating so fast, I can't even keep up. Translation is we're getting lots of action, but nobody is selling. That's what Beth Phoenix really meant in translation. My heart is beating fast, I can't even keep up with the action. Translation, there's a lot of action going on, but I just can't keep up. Translation, there's a lot of action, but nobody is selling. That's what she means, because that's what we were watching. This is my main issue with this many dudes in one match. Everybody is too concerned with setting up their next spot in gymnastics maneuver. That shit has to stop. MSK wins this sumbitch, defeating the Vets, and MSK are your new NXT Tag Champs. Congrats, boys. I mean that. Congrats. Action-packed for sure. I just wish these cats would slow it down. I wish these cats would let these matches breathe. Let your audience catch up. That's my gripe with these type of matches. You see it in AEW all the time because they love 6-man tag schmazes. AEW is the king company of schmaz matches. Every show, it seems there's like 2 6-man tags. In fact, there's word that there might be a trios championship. They have 10 factions in the company. And in doing that, yeah, it's I don't know if I'm watching wrestling or if I'm watching a gymnastics meet at the Olympics. Dominique Moceanu in the fucking 1996 Olympic team that won gold medals. Man, I still remember that. I had a huge crush on Dominique Moceanu. She was beautiful. We were the same age, or maybe she was a couple years older. But still, she was fucking beautiful. But I don't know if I'm watching Dominique Moceanu or if I'm watching fucking pro wrestling. Pro wrestling has to be more than just non-stop flips and spot fests. It has to be. I know it's evolved, but we see too many of it, and then it devalues it, because then everybody has to one-up each other every single time they go out there. That could be... I don't know, man. That's a whole nother video. I've harped on this in the past. I'll harp on it in the future, in future videos too, but... You know, if this was once in a while, this kind of match, okay, man, that could be fun. But everybody's doing these now. Crazy, brah. You gotta let shit breathe. You gotta relax just a minute and let your audience catch up. And while we're doing that, you can sell. It's not that hard of a concept to grasp. Main event for the NXT Women's Championship. Champion Io Shirai taking on challenger Raquel Gonzalez. Match time clocked in just under 15 minutes, but it felt like 50. Such a good match, and it truly felt main event worthy. Obviously, Shirai will do that, but Gonzalez deserves credit too, because it takes 2 to tango, 2 to dance, so you gotta give Gonzalez the credit as well. Now, Shirai took an epic leap off of the giant 20-foot high skull at the top of the ramp. This thing reminded me of the In Your House takeover when she jumped off the top of the roof. I know that sounds funny if you didn't watch it, but Io loves to jump off of shit. So she jumped off the roof of the In Your House structure, but this was even higher, and this was onto that steel grating. So she leaps off of this giant skull straight down on the Gonzalez and into that steel ramp. Io is a walking wrestling masterpiece. She could do it all. 2 minutes later, she took a clothesline from Gonzalez that literally turned her upside down and inside out. She sold that shit like the best in the world that she is. She just... How many females do you see sell a clothesline like that? I think of some of the ones that I feel are the best in the world, like Sasha Banks, for instance. Ember Moon comes to mind. Asuka. When I think best wrestlers, female-wise, in the world, I'm leaving out a lot of Japan talent. I know. I'm just giving you guys names that majority of you guys are going to know. Sasha Banks is the Asukas. Ember Moon. I know she's in NXT. Some of you guys don't watch too much NXT, but she's there. She'll be in action tonight. But those are the people, the women that I think of when I think just great. And I don't know, I've never seen any of them take a clothesline like that. And this is a really pro Sasha Banks channel. We love Sasha on this channel for the majority, but I've never even seen her take, she just did that after jumping 20, she got dinged up on that. And she's still willing to sell like a fucking trooper, like a warrior, like a badass, like a champion, like a best in the world. Just that clothesline she took that later into the match, I was just like, wow, man, she does not take a move off. And that's what I always said about Sasha. The greats don't take moves off. So after that clothesline, man, Gonzalez actually kicked out of Shirai's moonsault. Now, you don't ever see that. The moonsault usually ends it for Io, so we all pretty much knew what that meant. Shirai was not walking away from this match with gold, and I couldn't grasp that concept until it was all said and done. I'm not sure that I still grasp it this morning, but sure enough, Gonzalez hits the one-arm powerbomb, and Shirai never kicked out. Shirai loses the match, and subsequently, Io Shirai drops the women's title to the new NXT Women's Champion Raquel Gonzalez. Congrats to Gonzalez, first of all. Huge moment for her. I think the celebration afterwards, I wish she didn't scream out as much. I mean, you could hear her even on the aerial shot. I didn't know if I was watching a celebration or like a fucking, I have to, like, you see one of those cheerleading meets where they're cheering and I know their job is to cheer, but I mean, they just don't shut, they keep screaming as they're cheering. And you had Gonzalez just like screaming out, holding the championship, and she just wouldn't take a moment to just stare at it, let the camera zoom in, show a little bit of emotion if you're gonna, but she just kept on like cheering herself. I don't know. I wish she would just take a moment to just zip it for a minute. Zip it. Let everyone take in the moment. Even on the aerial shot, you heard Gonzalez screaming. You're the heel. The heel has to be a little bit more diabolical and like fucking structured, you know? But it's still a cool moment for her, man. I'll say it now, I'll say it loud. Io Shirai is the greatest women's professional wrestler on the planet right now. I don't see straight, and I'm not surprised. I mean, a product of Japan, I know a lot of you guys don't watch a lot of wrestling over there. I do to keep up. I like to keep up with who might be coming to the States or in different promotions. So I like to keep up with Japan, and not just on the New Japan Pro Wrestling side, but all aspects, and that includes a lot of the females over there. So I'm not surprised that I'm looking at Io's work and saying, I mean, she's the best right now. And I don't know, man. I'm not shocked because she's a product of Japan. But I'm taken back by how she keeps improving. There's not a hole in her game. I mean, even promo-wise, where you say, oh, she doesn't speak the greatest English, she still captivates you somehow. I mean, it's in her presence. But you look at her catch-as-catch-can and her technical side, you look at her aerial assault, you look at her selling, you look at her not just athleticism, that's key too, but the word I want is her conditioning. Whether you have her go out there for 10 minutes or a half an hour or 40 minutes, she's not going to blow up. She's going to give you that type of clothesline 15 minutes in or 2 minutes in. 25 minutes in, 4 minutes in. She's going to jump off the top of that skull 30 minutes in or 3 minutes in. And she won't take a move off. I mean, this is what I mean. When you say, yo, somebody's the greatest right now, you know, it opens the can of worms and everybody wants to give their opinion, you know. Ma Beasley, she's good, but blah, blah, blah is the best right now. Well, Beasley, you can't say she's the greatest. You can say whatever you want. I can say whatever I want. First of all, it's my channel. Secondly, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to pro wrestling. I dissect it much differently than others. It's how I gained an audience I came onto YouTube at a time where the tube was going downward spiral. It was hard as fuck to get any traction on tube. It still is today. I still continue to grow somehow because, ding dong, people know I know what I'm talking about. I dissect this shit. I give everyone their props. I tell you exactly who needs to improve because I dissect it and I tell you the exact areas. So you can tell me any name in the world, it's not going to sway my judgment. I've seen them all. Right now, Io Shirai is on another level. And I don't just say that because out of fandom. I don't say that for one or two areas, one or two categories. She is literally checking off every box. That's hard to do at the level that she is doing it. Io Shirai is on another level. She is the greatest women's professional wrestler as of today. BC has claimed it. That's nothing to get butthurt over. If you think it's someone else, cool. I hope you have proper dissection and you're checking off every box. And I hope you're really, actually, definitively comparing her to Io. Because I'll call bullshit every fucking time. And I'm talking some of the greats that you know about. Not just other Japan talent that we could go through an assembly of names. I'm talking the ones Asuka, Sasha, Ember. You know I love them. But Io's on another fucking level. You could add Charlotte too. We give Charlotte a lot of grief, but it's mostly because of her booking. Charlotte, can be good at times. I wish Charlotte sold better than she does. There's times she sells really good, and then there's times when Charlotte does not want to sell. She becomes like Nia Jax, and they just get irritated. You can tell they're frustrated, and they don't want to sell. So that's why Charlotte will never fully, until she changes a lot of things, never fully check off all the boxes. And that's why people get frustrated when we see list of Charlotte Flair as the best wrestler in the world for the females. She's not. She's damn good, but there's so many boxes she needs to be improved on. Io's fucking on that level. So I guess what I'm saying, man, she lost. Io Shirai lost her title after 305 days. Think about that. In a world where we play hot potato with titles in today's pro wrestling, in a world where championships are basically meaningless, irrelevant, they're in obscurity with the talent, at least Triple H is doing something cool with this NXT UK Championship, and he's doing something really cool with the Women's Championship. You look at some of the longest reigns, a lot of them have been over 300, some even 400. I believe one was over 500, correct? Paige had a lengthy run. Shayna Baszler had a lengthy run. Asuka had a lengthy run. And now Io Shirai. So at least Triple H doesn't hot potato these bitches. So Io may have lost this title after 305 days, but she cemented her legacy as the greatest, as of right now anyway, and one of the all-time greats in the future. She will be on that pedestal. I truly believe when it's all said and done, 50 years from now, Io will be on your Mount Rushmore for females. She lost the match, she lost the title. She gained so much last night in terms of her legacy. Io Shirai is that motherfucker. Io Shirai is that badass bitch. Io Shirai is the real deal. And if you don't know a lot about her, if you watch more BC than NXT, which a lot of you guys tell me you do, I don't watch the show, but I watch BC. Thank you, I appreciate the kind words. I would watch a lot of Io's matches. You're going to become a fan like that. Even if you don't want to, she'll make you become a fan from her epicness. Couldn't believe she lost the champion. I could not believe they did that. I could not believe they did that, man. I would have loved to. Does this mean she's getting called up or down to the main roster? And how does Vince try to tarnish her? We saw what happened with Asuka. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds, man. She could show up at WrestleMania this weekend. It could be that quick. She could get a rematch with Raquel. I don't know. I don't know. Why would you have her stick around NXT after she dropped the championship? If that's the case, have her keep the title. There was no reason to have Io lose that championship. She was having one of the best reigns in recent memory for any title. There was no reason to have her drop it to Raquel. And by the way, that's giving Raquel a huge rocket. I don't know if Raquel can keep that rocket strapped to her back. We're going to find out together. There hasn't been enough viewed on Raquel Gonzalez to know if she's going to be able to carry that torch. We're all going to find this out together. This is an experiment. We're hoping she can. She had a damn good match with Io last night. But are we going to have that same intriguing care when she's taking on a Candice LeRae or a Shotzi Blackheart? Those are the matches that remains to be seen. Obviously, if you're in there with Io, yeah, we're going to be like, wow, badass. The future is where it's going to all be told for Raquel. But Io, I don't see any reason underneath this bright sun why you would have her drop the title last night, unless Vince said, I need her immediately. In which case I would find bullshit. You can't even properly book Asuka. What the fuck? Kairi Sane was begging and pleading to go back to Japan. Kairi Sane, you fucking botched. Asuka, you've been botching. And all of a sudden you need Io? Please. She should still be the champion this morning, man. I just don't get the booking decision. But we're all going to find out together, you know? We're all going to find out the master plan. Something tells me when it's all said and done, this was a mistake. But good for Raquel. I'm proud of her, man. Congrats, and I hope to see the very best to come out of her. And for Io, man, her legacy was cemented last night if it wasn't already. I just think this was a mistake. I'm hoping that I'm proven to be wrong. But something tells me in just a couple weeks, we won't have to wait long. Within a couple, maybe a week, maybe by this weekend, something tells me BC is going to be fully correct. This was a mistake, man. Io should be holding that championship well past the 400-day mark. well into 2022. If you're going to have her drop that, you make it a full crowd and you make the moment so much bigger. You know, you don't do that with a majority Thunderdome crowd. There were some people in attendance, but, you know, that's a big moment when she drops that championship. I don't see why this happened on a night one of a USA Network takeover. Full of commercial breaks, and I just think we could have done this many different ways, man. I'm going to hold that ground and hold that stance. If Io ends up doing something grander, plan-wise, I'll absolutely take back that statement and say I was wrong. But Io Shirai, wow, man, thank you for that. Honestly, thank you, Io. That's the only thing I can say to Io. And on behalf of my amplified unit, thank you, Io. What a title reign. Thank you for never taking a move off. Not just a match off, never taking a move off. Thank you for doing what you do, intriguing us, entertaining us, and being the very fucking best. Io Shirai, round of applause for my amp unit. Much love, much respect. That's your NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night number 1 review and reaction. I would love to come live with you guys a little bit later on. If not, at least maybe tomorrow for night number 2. Review and reaction of TakeOver Stand and Deliver. So just be glued to the channel, man. A lot of content coming up. Obviously, SmackDown's WrestleMania type event Friday night, and then 2 nights of WrestleMania this weekend. So a lot of content, man. The good, the bad, and the ugly reviews. We got a lot to talk about. So hopefully you guys enjoy this review. My overall consensus of this takeover, it did not feel like takeover for me. There was a couple of matches that had glimpses of it. That main event, Tomasso and Walter. Everything else I could have easily seen at either on USA Network on a Wednesday night or even at a house show, to be honest. I know that's a harsh critique, but that's why I do what I do. That's why people tune into me and not other people, because they know I'm going to give it to you real, man. Everybody's going to have their own opinion of it, just like everything in pro wrestling, everything in life. Everyone has their own opinion. This is the most legit dissection, review-wise, critique that I can possibly give. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed it at least. And we'll see what night number 2 produces. Again, stay glued to the channel, man. At some point soon, we're going live. We'll kick that ass. Much love and respect, guys. I got a fucking water because Dunkin' closed. By now, they should be open. We've been fucking hooting and hollering for like an hour. They have to be open. Because I just don't want Starbucks. I don't want the mom and pop shop across the way too, which I always contribute to. Always contribute to mom and pop shops. You know, not just the conglomerate companies, the mom and pop shops. Those little coffee shops, they need your money too, man, you know? So, but I want to start with that Dunkin'. It hits me a certain way, man. Before New York City, I was a New England kid. And in New England, you do Dunkin' first thing in the morning, man. That has never stopped. So hopefully they're open now, so we can produce a lot more content this week. Much love and respect. Think, be, live, amplify. Check you later.